Hello, my name is Dan and welcome to my garden here in Essex in the southeast of the UK. So really lovely warm temperatures at the moment, and today I'm going to be making a video of what to sow during the month of June. I wanted to make this video a few days or so ago, but everybody wants the maintenance gardener at this time of year, so I've been rather busy with work, but hey ho, there we go, better late than never. What to sow during the month of June. We shall start with peas. I'm growing two varieties of pea here. One is Oscar, which is a dwarf early pea, gets to around 3 feet high, which is about 0.9 of a metre. The other variety I'm growing is Champion of England tall climbing pea, which gets to about 6 to 8 feet high, which is around 1.8 to 2.4 metres. So a nice high pea. So you can sow peas now. The way that I like to germinate peas is to start them off in cell trays of multi-purpose compost. A cell tray such as this is perfect for planting the seeds. Multi-purpose compost, I like to use about 3 seeds per cell, grow them in modules and then transplant them out, maybe about when they are around 10 to 15 centimetres high, 6 to 8 inches, something like that. I like to initially grow them on in a polytunnel or a greenhouse. That way they've got some protection from birds or mice, which seem to like to bite them off, and therefore you can lose your crops. You get a more reliable crop if you modular sow. Going to be picking some of these Oscar early peas. So these are from the Czech Republic, and one good thing about this pea, they're a dwarf pea. Of course they are available early, they're ready early. Look at those lovely peas there, look, absolutely beautiful they are. So only 3 feet high, they don't need as much support as say the Champion of England peas. You get a lesser yield, but if you only got a small space, for example, small garden, this variety is fantastic. So you can see there's 2 peas in that pod there, which doesn't seem a lot, but they're really, really tasty. So, oh, here you go, this one's got a bit more. So a nice pea from the Czech Republic, and there's certainly something about coming outside and just harvesting your own peas. Champion of England, tall climbing pea, so needs more supports to give the height where the Oscar doesn't, but higher yields, as I stated earlier. Not quite ready yet, but starting to fill out there, and I can see that by looking in these that there's probably about maybe 9, 10, 11 peas in each pod, so isn't that wonderful? Cucumbers, squashes, courgettes, marrows, many of the cucurbits, you could sow those now. So cell trays such as this, multi-purpose compost, 1 per cell. I'll show you what I've got here. This is Gurgana cucumber, which I planted on the 6th of May. That needs to go out, and here I have an exploding cucumber which I planted on the 11th of April, so these need to go out. But you can see the variety of cell tray sizes that I've used. So if you look at those, look, you can see they're really small, and the cell tray, or the size of the individual cells, so it's not going to affect too much there. So these really do need to go out, and I'll show you some more mature specimens I have in here. So some more Gurgana cucumbers here, initially planted on the 6th of May and planted out I think on the 3rd of June. So they're in this pot here, and I am going to be trailing them up the polytunnel here, probably on strings or canes or something along those lines. This variety, Market More, is a great one. This is Market More 76. It's an outdoor cucumber actually, but I'm growing it here in the polytunnel to try and get a quicker crop, and you can see it sets some lovely fruit there. That Market More cucumber was initially planted on the 25th of February and planted out here in this pot on the 2nd of May. You shouldn't be having too much trouble getting the required temperatures at this time of year outside to germinate plants such as this, but a temperature between about 20 and 30 degrees C is great, which is about 68 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And also with regards to cucurbits, make sure you protect them, because rodents do seem to like to eat the seeds whilst they are still in the compost. So maybe if you're germinating them in a polytunnel or greenhouse outside such as this, you would wish to put some additional protection. You've seen the windowsill propagators I use, maybe like the plastic over the top or something like that, just to sort of give them a bit of protection, because it can be very frustrating if you lose what you have sown. These are the windowsill propagators I like to use, so very sorry it needs a clean, but I need to do some maintenance. So that goes over the top like that. Your seeds in your pots are in there, whatever, and that should protect from rodents. It'll also help to increase the temperature for maybe a quicker and more reliable germination, but it's already quite warm out here in the polytunnel, but any advantage is a good thing, I guess. runner beans, dwarf beans and French beans. So here I have runner beans. These are variety Streamline. I planted these on the 20th of April. There we go, don't drop them. Right here I have climbing French bean Cherokee Trail of Tears, planted on the 14th of April. And right here I have Older Gold, which is a dwarf bean, planted on the 18th of April. So dwarf beans are brilliant because they're small bush plants like that. They generally don't need support. You can put a stake if you want. You can grow them in exposed areas. So if you're in a blowy area where something that climbs doesn't do so well, you could consider something like that. Runner beans, we all love them, don't we? And climbing French beans are great because you can get a better crop than if you just grew dwarf beans, because they grow higher, hence you can get more. So once again, I like to plant them in cell trays, as you saw, of multi-purpose compost. And then when they get so high, something like that, you can then consider to plant them out. Of course, you could straight sow them, but many of you have worked out I prefer to put my plants, initially bring them on in cell trays. That way you get a more reliable germination rate. Earlier on I mentioned squash, so this here is variety Bennings Green Tint Patty Pan Squash. I really like it. They're compact plants, they don't trail like many other squash plants do. They look like flying saucers. This variety dates back to around the 1900s, so it's very historical and a very nice squash to grow. Regarding squashes, there are some great varieties you can grow. Victor Winter Squash is a great one. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this properly. Uchiki Kuri is a great one. You could also look into butternut squash. There really are lots of different varieties of squash that you can buy. Marrow's courgettes. Green Bush is a very popular variety, as is Black Beauty. Verde di Italiano, I think, is another one that I'm having a go at. I'm having a go at Kusa courgettes as well. So have a look around, so many different varieties and things that you can choose from. So down here I have a variety of plants growing in this no-dig bed. So here is some beetroot. Beetroot is brilliant because you can eat the tops as well as you can eat the root as well. Very nutritious as well, with many health benefits. So look into that one. So with regards to these, I like to plant them initially in cell trays. This is just for demonstrative purposes. Not too many in there. I didn't look after these as well as I should, but I'm just showing you just so you can see what I do. So multi-purpose compost, about 3 or 4 seeds per tray, and then I later plant them out. Probably at this time of year it'd be about 3 weeks to a month or so after I initially sowed them, maybe a bit before, depending on conditions and how they do, etc. So I've got 2 varieties of this style beetroot here. I have Cylindra and I also have Boltardy. So I think I sown these initially around January, February time and then transplanted them out. You can see they've done very well. And over there I have White Albino beetroot, just over there. And I straight sowed those. What dates did I do that? On the 24th of March. And literally all I did was I just drilled myself a little trench, very fine, and then just scattered the seeds like that. Of course, you can see there's a bit of patchy germination there. And with regards to sowing them in cell trays, that can avoid that, because what you do is you bring them on first and then transplant them out. So also here, I have some carrots, and they were planted also on the 24th of March. And you could sow them now as well. So everything here, more or less, the beetroot, carrots, you could plant them straight sow or in cell trays right now, no problem at all. Good variety of carrot that you can grow at this time of year is Autumn King. Maybe if you've got clay soil, one of the globe-shaped ones would be good. So a variety such as Paris Market would be good. Got some of those growing over there currently, actually. And I've got some lettuce here. You can sow lettuce now, and this is variety Little Gem Cos. It's a hearting lettuce. It's a nice lettuce to grow. You can also buy them in the supermarkets, hearting up lovely. Really nice Little Gem Cos lettuce, really lovely lettuce to grow. Nice little early carrot there. You can also eat carrot tops as well, so they're nice in salad, so nice addition there. Radishes are a great one to sow now. Once again, make yourself a little drill and just scatter the seeds like that. One good thing about growing radishes at this time of year is you can get them to grow quite quick, so therefore if you're not into food or radishes or whatever that are too spicy, if they grow quick and you pick them other than letting them mature too much, you can get a less spicy radish. So many different varieties, cylindrical shaped ones or round ones, different colour ones. Have a look about. Radish ready in about 4 weeks, and you can also eat the tops as well. So very versatile, quick and easy to grow crop. Is one you could sow at this time of year. I'm looking at a variety called Gigant, and I'm looking forward to that. It's a big one. It's bred for storage, so quite an interesting one. Many different varieties about, so take a look. Kohlrabi. I would initially germinate the kohlrabi in cell trays of multi-purpose compost. Mr. Choach is doing very well. Yeah, anyway, so Swede, a variety called Champion Red Top, which is an ancient variety apparently. That's something I'm looking at growing. Swedes you can sow now. I'd grow them, I'd germinate them probably straight in the ground, straight sow. So put Swedes on your list. Up here in amongst the grapes, looks like it's going to be a great year for grapes this year. So anyway, kale is a great one to sow at this time of year. Westland Autumn is one I like to grow. Red Russian is a nice kale. If I remember correctly, you can eat that one raw, so you can use that for salads, but don't quote me on that one, look that one up. And another good one is Nero di Toscana. So with regards to sowing kale and indeed other brassicas, that will include the kohlrabi I spoke about earlier. You need to make sure that you have protected them from the cabbage white butterfly, because they'll be around pretty soon. They may even be around already in some areas. And even if the plants are small, the butterflies will proceed to lay their eggs, if they can, on your lovely brassica plants, and then you'll get some caterpillars, and then they can indeed eat them, so protect them. But I would like to germinate them initially, once again, in cell trays. You could straight sow them, but as you've probably worked out by now, sowing in cell trays is generally my preferred way of initially growing things. Cabbages are starting to heart up nicely. These are variety Offanem 2 Flowered Spring. Been eating the outer leaves as well, but won't be too long now till some nice cabbage hearts there. Down here with my melons and my chilli plants here. So anyway, now good one to sow at this time of year is sweet corn. So I'm growing 2 varieties this year. One is double red, and that is, as it states, a red sweet corn. So sowing red sweet corn at this time of year may not be so wise, because from what I've heard anyway, never grown red before, it can take longer to crop, needs a longer growing season, so you might be better off with a yellow sweet corn, so to speak. So I'm growing bicolour sweet corn. So if you check out my last allotment video, you'll see the sweet corn that I featured on there. Once again, I would grow them initially in cell trays of multi-purpose compost and then transplant out for a more reliable germination rate. So maybe a little cost-saving budget gardening idea here. So I went to the garden centre the other day, and I noticed that they had some potatoes on sale. They're much reduced price, because the majority of people have already bought and planted their seed potatoes long before now. So anyway, with regards to potatoes, you've got early potatoes, otherwise known as determinate potatoes, or you have got main crop, otherwise known as indeterminate potatoes. So you could consider planting potatoes now. One thing you could end up running into with indeterminate main crop potatoes is they could end up, they will grow for longer than the early potatoes, so you could end up running into blight issues or something like that with them. But I would consider setting potatoes now, and you could, as I stated, save yourself some money by purchasing them at a much reduced price. But do your own research as to whether you want to do this. So I'm growing different varieties of strawberry. So this variety here is Malling Centenary, which has been described as the strawberry of the future. So let you look that one up. And these here are Royal Sovereign, which are a very historical variety. Not a heavy cropper, but they have a lovely flavour. So there we are. Now, if you're buying strawberry plants now, it can be good to plant them, because what they can do is actually establish this season and hopefully get you a better crop next season, because they'll already be established. Whereas if you wait until the spring next year or later in the year this year, then they haven't got as much time to establish before next season. So if you want a bigger, quicker crop, you could consider planting your strawberry plants now. So these you can see are growing here under this membrane outside, and I've also got some growing in this polytunnel here. I think I showed you them earlier, and also in the other polytunnel as well. It's good because that way you can stagger your strawberry season. So I've got all sorts of varieties. I've got these two varieties. I've also got El Santa, Cambridge favourite, and I think Florence as well. So you get sort of early, mid and late season, and also perpetual strawberries. So look into strawberries and you can get a crop over a long period of time. Grapes. So you saw this vine earlier. This is variety Lakemont Seedless, and I took this from a cutting a few years ago. Many of you are aware of the huge crop that I had off of this last year. So very good, cost effective plant to grow. Anyway, so took some cuttings from this and I think some other vines, I think it was last year, yes. So you can see them here. Now, it's good to plant them out now, because that way they can then get a bit of establishment going, the same as the strawberries, maybe get some growth out, and you could maybe get some crop next year or maybe even the year after. But the way that grapes fruit is they produce canes which grow from the previous year's growth. So what you've got to do is get plenty of growth on there, and you'll get some canes come, such as, I hope you can see, I'll just get the camera and show you, like this one here. So this is a bit of last year's growth, and this is a cane that's come off of it, and you can see the crop there. Yeah, the cherry tree here, variety Stella, it is carrying a crop. It's starting to dump a few of the cherries this year, which I'm really not surprised at, because the huge crop that I had off of this tree last year, it can't give me that every year. So very appreciative for the crop that I will hopefully get. But anyway, so many of you are aware I really could go on for quite a long time, but you've got a few ideas of what to sow, and there we are. So if you've got any comments or questions on that, you can post them down below, and if you feel that anyone else would find my work useful, you can share it. If you like it, you can like it, and if you'd like to be notified of any further videos I put up, please feel free to subscribe and hit the bell. Enjoy the beautiful weather, and I will see you in the next video.